Welcome to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. I'm Brooke Mangum.
And I'm Carrie Hawker-Diaz. Okay, I have to say right away, I love all of our podcasts. I think they're amazing. We talk to so many different people that are professionals and are experts.
You learn a lot.
You know, we learn a lot on this. Today's episode might be one of my favorites just because I took so much away from it personally. So I talked with Matt and Lauren. They are relationship coaches. And what I loved about them is they're not just giving advice and they're not just throwing all these things out of like, you need to do this, you need to do that. They talk about their own personal struggles.
Oh, the authenticity of it.
Yes. And their own stories and where they've been. And they're a married couple, but they're relationship coaches together because they needed coaching and it changed their life. So that's why they're wanting to help other people. But I really took a lot away from this one.
I bet they fight so well. They say all the things that you're supposed to say, right? Yes. I'm just sitting over thinking about my husband and I'm like, I bet we could learn a thing or two. But that's the thing is I think about my relationship and like, I have a great relationship. I love my husband, but things change a lot through life. Like things come up, different jobs, things like that. I know for me, it was when we had kids. Yeah. Things as a mom, like you tend to just like, your kids are your whole world. And I know that's the same thing for my husband. It's like we put all of our focus on the kids and oftentimes we forget about the relationship because it's a sure thing. We love each other. We're good, right? But there's maintenance that has to go into that as well. And that's something that I've learned just by realizing that, hey, our relationship, we can do a few things. There's always room for growth.
Totally. You hit the nail on the head when you said maintenance, because that's what they talked about. As they said, you don't really, I mean, like if it's too late, it's too late. But why not just maintain things while you have, maybe you think a great relationship, why not just make it that much better?
A little effort never hurt anybody.
A little effort, but, yeah, improve communication. We can use this in all areas of our life, creating like deeper emotional intimacy. I mean, it's an important relationship that you have with your partner. So why not cater to it, take care of it, make sure it's good to go. And, it just takes a little time.
Make it the best it can be. Well, I've got my pen. I'm ready. Let's take some notes.
Take some notes. Give it a listen. Today, we are diving into the modern relationship crisis and why so many couples feel that disconnection despite having what it looks like, that perfect life. Joining us are Matt and Lauren Griner, transformational relationship coaches who specialize in helping couples rebuild that trust, improve communication, we can all use, and create deeper emotional intimacy. We'll explore how social media, modern dating culture, which is totally different now, and shifting expectations are impacting relationships, and most importantly, what couples can do to reconnect. Yes, let's get into it. Matt and Lauren, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. We are so excited to be here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
So happy to talk with you. I feel like we all need this in our lives, no matter what relationship. We all have relationships,
yes,
depending on who with. Let's start with this. What inspired you both to become relationship coaches? Because you both are.
Yes, we do this together, which is something that we didn't see in the space of coaching, and especially relationship coaching or relationship therapy. It was always, one person, doing it with a couple. And so we felt like, wait, we are both super passionate about this, so let's do it together. But I'll let Matt talk about kind of why we dove into it.
Well, so our fundamental belief is that like you're only able to help the person that you've been. And
wait, will you say that again? That's so good.
That you're more capable and willing to be able to help the person that you have been.
That you've already been, because you could speak to it.
Absolutely. So that's where our take on relationship coaching is very different from like the therapeutic world or like the counseling world, right? Because we coach through what we have been through. And so the transformation that we saw after I struggled with porn addiction. She struggled with being sexually assaulted when she was 19. And all of the intricacies in between in our relationship that came to a head where we came to a point where it was just like, okay, cool. Either we figure something out in our relationship or let's move on to a different one.
Yeah.
Right. And so we hired a coach that sat down and walked us through all of these processes. And we just fell in love with the transformation of it. And we knew that other people needed what we had and what we had built. And so that's kind of why we jumped into relationship coaching. So it's so fulfilling, and we jumped away from other careers to start doing this because we believe in it so much.
Well, it's so good. I've been married for 12 years now, and I think you just kind of expect that like once you get married or once you're in a relationship, like you just like, you know how to love someone and like it's just going to be all perfect, right? Like you're good at loving someone, they're good at loving you. And that is so not, that's so not true. I mean, yes, there's a lot of love in relationships, but like there's a lot of life. There's a lot of like past experiences that come up that you have to be able to learn how to work together and not only like work on yourself. So you talked a little bit about that, Matt, with your personal story shaping the way that you coach couples today, but that really plays into it, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I think one of the very first topics that we coach on is the fact that we have to separate our worlds to be able to understand one another, right? So she is her own individual and so am I. And just like what you said beautifully is that we all have our own backstory even before we get married or into a relationship, right? And so our personal stories are always going to affect the way that our relationship exists and how it performs. And so if we can understand who our spouse is, but more importantly, who we are in our relationship, then we actually have some self-awareness coming there and we can progress.
Yeah. So true. So true. Okay. What do you think the biggest myth about relationships that like people believe? What do you think that big myth is?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's perfect, like the perfect relationship exists.
Yeah.
And that it's easy. I think, especially as women, and I would love your take on this, is that we grow up watching like Disney movies and we grow up reading like fantasy novels. And
the prince and the princess.
Yes, and we're told from a really young age, like, you know, Prince Charming's going to come sweep you off your feet. And this is what love should be like. And this is how, you know, you should, you know, you're never going to get your heart broken and the right man's never going to break your heart. When in reality, sometimes the people that we love the very most break our hearts on a daily basis. And so it's so interesting is that we hear all the time, like, I'm just waiting for the perfect person or I'm waiting for the perfect situation.
You'll be waiting a long time.
Yes. And so that's the biggest thing that we've found is that the perfect relationship doesn't exist. It's created. And so realizing that especially in today's day and age, it's like we have so many things to compare a relationship to that it's not a one size fits all for every relationship. Your relationship is unique to you and your story and your beliefs. And it's starting to really question those things of, you know, should my relationship be this fairy tale? Or, you know, do I want it to maybe be a little bit more messy because in the mess we grow and in the mess we learn. And so it's kind of taking that perspective and really starting to question it and really starting to question where those beliefs came from and, you know, why we believe that our story should be like Cinderella's or Sleeping Beauty's or whoever that may be for you.
I love what you just said with all of that. And especially the part where that is so true, Lauren. But like in the mess we grow.
Yes.
I really took away from that. In the mess we grow because it's so true. I mean, it's messy, right?
It's so messy.
And that's where you learn. That's where you grow. That's where you become better people. How would you both define true emotional intimacy?
That's a really, really cool topic, and it's one that we kind of pride ourselves on, right? So emotional intimacy is the ability to hold space for yourself in order to do so for your partner, right? So whether that's in any emotion that you're going to go through throughout your lifetime, whether that's you're angry, whether that's you're sad, whether that's you're happy, right? And there's a whole bunch of other emotions in between those. If you're able to understand your emotions enough as an individual, so then you can go and hold space for your spouse in her lower or his lower or higher emotions, and then be able to connect emotionally rather than run away. Because what we see so much is that when big emotions come up in a relationship, it's so much easier to go on to the next than to fight through the hard times, air quotes, right? And the hard emotions that we have to go through and have to deal with. But the thing is that emotional intimacy is genuinely dropping to low emotions, staying in them and connecting, and then also being able to work up to higher emotions with your spouse to be able to connect at any level at any time.
That's good. Any level at any time. That's because it's any time, right? Stuff's going to come up.
Yes, no, it's messy and it's all over the place like we keep talking about. And I think the other thing that's interesting is if you go back in your own personal relationships, if you're listening to this and you're like, let me go back to my own relationship. If you can almost like, you know, in the movie Inside Out, how they have the core memories in there, they're almost like little core memories in your relationship. When you bring the emotion there and you're able to match emotion in your relationship with your partner. So if, you know, Matt's having a bad day and he comes to me and he's like, you know, I'm feeling really guilty about this, or I'm feeling like a lot of shame about this, because I have been in those emotions and because I know how it feels to feel guilty or shameful for something, I can meet him there. I can meet him in that emotion and I can say, okay, you know, how do you want me to show up in this conversation, right? Do you want me to listen? Do you want me to be on your team? Do you want me to, you know, like go to bat for you? Like, or you want me to look to solve a problem here? And I think when you can meet emotionally, it creates this deeper connection that not a lot of people realize. I think it's why experiences are so fun in relationships. When you have these like super fun experiences and you experience joy, or, you know, like we have 4 kids together, and I think about all of the births of all of our kids, and I'm like, those were core memories for us because we emotionally connected on a deeper level there. But we forget so much about those lower emotions and how powerful they can actually be of when you are angry or you're scared or you're grieving. When you can meet each other on that, in that basement level, we call it your basement level, and you can really get like down in the messy and like the things that we hide from a lot of people. When you can show your partner that, that's when that emotional intimacy starts to happen.
Yeah, and that's when you can grow. Okay, yep. Well, I never thought of it that way. So basically you could be experiencing 2 different situations in your past or currently, but if you meet with the emotion, so it's not maybe you can relate on the same situation, but if you're meeting with the emotion of the shame or guilt or anger or whatever, that's what you're talking about, where you meet.
Yep. Just being able to actually see your partner for who they are. And I think for me, this was beautifully like modeled. Matt talked about how I was sexually assaulted at 19, and he had just came home from his LDS mission. We met in high school, and I wrote him the entire time he was gone, but I also dated. And during that time, I was sexually assaulted, and I was so scared to tell him when he got home. And so he comes home from his mission, and I think he was 2 days fresh off your mission. Yeah. And we were really serious. We were like, we're going to get married. This is awesome. And I told him about my sexual assault, and I was met with so much like kindness and forgiveness. I thought, you know, oh, I'm damaged goods. Oh, you know, he's not going to want to marry me. And I truly went into that conversation like, this is a boy that I love, and I want to be with him. There's a really good chance he's going to tell me that he doesn't want to be with me anymore. And at 19, I think I was probably 20 at the time when I told you. Yep. And I was like terrified. I was so scared because I didn't want to lose the relationship that I knew we could have together. And so when I told him, he came back with so much grace and was so kind. And the next day he showed up to my work with flowers and was just like, there's nothing you could ever do that would make me not love you. And so I was just like, wow. That was early, before we even got married. And then fast forward to, you know, him coming to me and saying, hey, I've struggled with a pornography addiction my entire life. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts my entire life. It was like, without me even realizing, I could go back, and I didn't realize I did this at the time, but going back to those same emotions that I felt of shame and guilt and all that, and being able to meet him in that scenario and show that exact same kindness that was shown to me. So it's so cool how our relationships show us different things that we sometimes don't realize until we're faced with them.
Yeah. And that you met with the emotions. Mm-hmm. That's really incredible. Yeah. You both.
Right.
And I'm sure so many people listening to that can relate to one of those things, or maybe all of those things, and are thinking like, you know, and with you, Lauren, like it's wild that like you would think, you know, and I think we're raised that way.
For sure. Yes.
As women, that I'm damaged goods.
Yep.
You know, and that you met her there in the emotion and helped her through that. I'm sure a lot of people listening right now can relate to that, and how much love you had for each other. Speaking of love, you guys, why do you think so many couples struggle with that communication? Even when you may love each other like crazy, but why do you think couples struggle with that communication?
We kind of just hit on it. It's the fact that we don't understand why we feel the way we feel. And so we're going to go to places where we feel more comfortable. And so if at any time, if there's conflict in your relationship, it's really, really hard to communicate. And because we have this lack of knowledge of how to communicate how we feel, right? And I know that sounds very cliche, but at the same time, if we can communicate how we feel, then it takes blame and expectation off the other person. And I think I know in relationships, we run away and we blame. And we expect somebody else to be performing or to be doing or to say certain things. And when they don't, then we blame them for all of our problems, right? And we're projecting, we outsource everything else. That's where miscommunication and disconnections lies. And so it always comes back to the fact that if I can just tell you how I feel, then it takes everything off of your shoulders and makes it all about me. And then we actually have something to talk about. Because a lot of communication in a relationship right now says, hey, you did this and it made me feel this way, right? One of the number one things that we teach on that is the hardest to grasp for everybody is that the fact that nobody else can make you feel something.
Ooh. Okay, let's say that again.
So nobody else can make you feel something.
It's so hard to grasp.
It really is.
But it's true.
Yeah. It's the hardest concept because it's like, no, that's not true. Someone can totally make me feel something.
We get the choice to feel. And somebody else is going to spark that ego in us that's going to put us into an emotional state that we're not used to. And that's where miscommunication comes, because then we get angry, and we're societally taught that anger is not a good thing, right? And so if we get angry, then we're going to shut down, repress our emotions, and run away, right? Or we get really, really sad. And in the feminine, you guys with grief, you guys love grief, and you live there a lot of the times, right? When you get sad, you don't want to show somebody else that you're sad. And the person that can't communicate with you in those moments often is the masculine husband in the relationship, because they don't know what grief looks like or feels like. And so this is where miscommunication is like, I don't know how you feel because I've never been there, and I don't know how you feel because I'm running away from the things that are scary for me.
But if you meet in that emotion.
And the thing is that your partner, and I love that you just said, sorry to cut you off, but the thing is that your partner is going to show you the emotions that you're not comfortable with.
That's
right?
so true. Oh, it's so true.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And so the feminine really, really wants to learn what getting mad actually looks like, because, and this is like a shocking statistic for a lot of people, but we believe that anger is 80% good and 20% bad, because it's going to propel you and show you the things that you don't want in your life and propel you into the positive emotions, right? Any emotion above anger is actually a positive one. Any emotion below anger is negative, even though we know we're going to learn from those. So she taught me so much of how to be positive and how to be happy, and I taught her how to actually feel the deeper emotions. And this is how we're using our partner as a mirror and as a reflection in our life to learn self-awareness.
And how you can help others.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, what is your take on, I'm interested to see on this, you guys, your modern dating culture, when, so much has changed now, and its effect on long-term relationships.
Oh, I just am grateful that we're not in the dating game anymore. But
dating can be hard. It can be fun, but it can be hard. Yeah.
And I think I really feel for everybody in the dating game right now, because I do think, like we talked about earlier, everyone's looking for this perfect thing, or everyone's looking for someone to check all the boxes or someone to be perfect. And when you take a step back and you're like, wait, are you actually perfect? Like, what do you bring to a relationship, right? And you can kind of take some accountability there.
Yeah.
I believe, I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and most of my siblings are not married. I have 2 that are married and 3 that aren't. And so it's interesting listening to them and their experiences, even our friends that aren't married, just how hard it seems to be, because everyone's looking for something that's easy, something that's perfect, somebody that's going to check all the boxes. And the second that things get hard, it's really easy for them to run away. And so I feel like that's the long-term part of it, where, they're scared of commitment. And I think fear plays a huge part in a lot of the dating game that's going on right now. Is everyone that is dating is just scared. They're scared to get their heart broken. They're scared to jump in long-term. What if someone's going to hurt me? I had a conversation with someone the other day, one of our clients, and she said to me, I'm scared to get married because I'm really worried that I'm going to have kids with this man, and then potentially he could, down the road, could break my heart. Maybe he, views pornography, or he cheats on me. And all I said back to her was, well, what if?
It's true.
Because we have no control over somebody else.
Yep.
And so I think if we can start to focus on, why do I love this person? What are they showing me, instead of what do they lack? It kind of changes that narrative a little bit. And how can I create the perfect relationship with this person if I'm committed enough to them and I can see the long-term, view or outcome that this may provide me? I think it's so hard right now, because I really believe people are just so focused on the easy and the fast. And
Commitment's hard, and there's too many options.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to find something else.
Yeah. Well, we live in a day and age of instant gratification, and relationships are hard work. No matter what stage you are in, very hard work. Do you think people today have unrealistic expectations for love and partnerships?
That's a really cool question.
That is a really cool question.
Yes, absolutely. Because it is portrayed in such a way where it does look so good on social media. Right?
Oh man, yeah. Everyone's life is like that highlight reel. It's perfect. It's you want that relationship that looks quote unquote perfect.
Absolutely. And so expectation is a very, very cool word to use, because anytime that we expect anything from anybody else means that we lose, right? Because everything about our whole entire life is about us. And so the person that we choose is about us. It's about who we want to do our life with. The things that we do is all about us. And so even in dating, or even in like modern dating culture or marriages, if we're expecting somebody else to perform, or if we're expecting life to be a certain way, that's when we're absolutely in the wrong.
Yeah.
I do think sometimes that can get kind of twisted sometimes. Like, I know people are going to hear that and be like, oh, I'm off the hook, I don't have to do anything. And I think that that's sometimes where it can get a little like muddy almost. And that's how I like view it. Whereas like when you're in a relationship, you have a common goal together. And that common goal, I don't want anybody to hear that and be like, oh, I have to compromise now because of that. Like, my happiness is now compromised. No, the goal in this is to be able to communicate your desires and your wants so that you are on the same page and you can get exactly what you want and what your partner wants, and you can move forward that way. And I think that that's a big part of the communication that goes into the expectations. Is if you have expectations for your partner, instead of putting the expectation on them, the expectation needs to come back to what is your desire in the outcome that you're searching for. So it's more, what is it about you that you're expecting that maybe you're not performing on? We see a lot of couples that come through that are like, I just wish my husband would be transparent. I wish he would talk to me more. I wish he would open up. And my biggest question to them always is like, well, how is your communication with him? Are you transparent? Are you vulnerable? Are you able to, talk to him openly about some of the things that, you're wanting him to open up about? And they're like, wait, actually, I'm not. So it's kind of that concept of, I don't want to ask you to give me anything that I'm actually not willing to give you. So you've got to be willing to give what you're going to ask for.
It's a lot of looking within. I'm finding out from
this too. I know. And it's hard. It's hard. Because a lot of times, I mean, like when we got in this journey, I will be totally honest with you. I sat down and I was like, Matt has so many problems, fix him. I'm just here to be supportive and all this. And then I got to look at myself, and it was the best gift ever. Like, I tell him all the time, I'm like, thank you for like showing me how to be vulnerable and brave and tell the truth, because I didn't know how much I needed that in my life. And I didn't realize how small of a version I was being of myself until you allowed me and showed me how to be that version of myself through just your example.
Yeah. Well, and look, now you're relationship coaches.
Yes.
So you worked through it, and now you're helping other people. It's amazing. Yep. Okay. What are some subtle signs, would you say, that a relationship as we probably talk about this for a whole podcast,
no, you're good.
Subtle signs that a relationship might be in trouble before like those big problems are arising? Are there little signs that we could look for?
Yeah. We talked about this the other day. I think that one of the biggest ones, and yes, it is subtle, but one of the biggest ones is when you are actively choosing to spend time with someone other than your spouse.
Ooh.
And it comes in the form of family and friends usually, right? When I have time off of work, when I have free time, kids are a different story, right? But when I have that time, am I choosing to go spend time with my spouse, or go with my friends, or go with my mom, or go with my sisters, right? Because what that is it's a lot of the times you'll just see how uncomfortable it is to actually be intimate one-on-one with your partner. And so I think that would be a very, very subtle sign, is like, who are you spending time with?
Okay.
One of our like most favorite concepts to teach is, if you treated your partner like your best friend, how would your relationship change? And I think that like, that's my favorite cue of, maybe something's not 100% in your relationship. If you're choosing to spend time with your very best friends over your partner, like, yes, we all need an occasional girls' night and a guys' night here and there. But if that's your main priority, is your friendships over your partner, start to look at that and start to question, hey, well, what if I started treating, my husband just like I treat my girlfriends? What if I let him in just as much? Or what if, we did the same activities that, I let him into my world there? How would that change? Would my judgment come off of him, or would my expectations kind of release a little bit? It's interesting to start to question those things and really look at it.
Yeah. If you stand back and look at where are you spending your time, what are you wanting?
Yeah.
It speaks volumes. Say that somebody's listening and they are in this situation. What's your advice, and where should they start? Would it be like with coaching? Would it be therapy? And like, what's the difference between a therapist and maybe like relationship coaches?
Cool question. If you're in the thick of it, our advice is a mediator always helps, whether that's a therapist, a counselor, or a relationship coach, right? We would love for people to just start talking rather than avoiding. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? I went to therapy after I came out with all of my stuff, and I didn't find as much benefit in it as I did in coaching, but that's not going to be the story for somebody else,
Yeah.
right? Because therapists are life-changing. The only reason that I say that is because I needed to be held more accountable, and I needed more action plans to then transform my life, right? And so I think that that's the difference in coaching and therapy, because we're advocates for both, right? But in coaching, what we want to take you on is this transformation of saying, hey, this is the person that I am now, and this is the person that I potentially could be. And we're not here to hold your hand after a certain time. Like, we literally want to breathe into you this life, this newfound self-awareness to be able to transform and take this and say, hey, I don't need somebody to walk me through this anymore. That's why I have my spouse, and we're going to do this journey together. Because a lot of people will spend a lot of time in a therapist chair, right? And that's not our goal. Our goal is to get you through the stages that you're in and then help you find this newfound awareness, so then you guys can work together for it. Because I now say that Lauren is my biggest coach, and she's my biggest help, because she holds me accountable. She lets me look at myself, and like my biggest thing now, because I used to lie so much in my past, and you'll never hear a lie out of my mouth anymore. Even if it's something that's hurt her, it's because I need it, right? I have to tell the truth. And so that's the journey that we want to take people on. And that's why I think that relationships are so beautiful, and that coaching is so beautiful, because it takes you to a point where you can actually use your spouse as somebody that's going to help you the most.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Well, and I think that, if someone's listening and thinking, well, I don't think that it's possible to fix what I'm in, and if they're at the bottom of the barrel and they're thinking like, how can you fix it? And you guys can give people hope with talking about, maybe we quickly, there's so much here, but what are the common mistakes couples make when they're trying to rebuild that trust? So say we're bottom of the barrel, we've lost trust, both of each other, it's really bad. What are the common mistakes that people make that we shouldn't make, like when trying to rebuild it?
I think one of the biggest things for us and our experiences and the things that we see couples go through are trying to make the other person happy and worrying so much about, well, what does he want or what does he need, instead of saying like, well, what do I want and what do I need? Do you know what I mean? Because we are relationship coaches, and yes, we want to try to help, relationships stay together. But there does come a point where if both partners are not willing and wanting to progress forward, it may not be worth trying to go down that path.
Sure.
And I know that's hard to hear, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're a relationship coach, you should want to keep everyone together. But I want to make sure that you're getting exactly what you want, and I want to make sure that he's getting exactly what he wants in this relationship. And so how do we do that? And how do you come on the same page to say, no, we do want to move forward, but it's not about them. It's not about their happiness. It's about you. Like, what do you need? And a lot of times, I feel like most of the time couples lose their individualism throughout a lot of the relationship. They forget about themselves because they're so service-based onto their partner. And I think that causes a lot of resentment and a lot of, distrust, because they don't trust themselves. Yeah.
So, and I love your question, because it's like, when you're at your darkest moment, how do you get out of this, and what's to avoid? I think a big thing to avoid is the fact that we're looking at the problem that we're dealing with as somebody else's problem, as like they caused this, right? The biggest thing is that anytime that you feel triggered, this is the chance to look at why you're triggered. Because when we're in shame and guilt, which usually people at the bottom of their journey are, there's so much judgment there, even for yourself, for even having been down this road. So I think the biggest thing that we do is we start to judge ourselves and start to judge our spouse. And when we're in judgment, there is no progression. And so we have to start to actually look at ourselves and be like, okay, cool, what part did I take in this?
And maybe if you're at the bottom right there, there's only room to grow, right?
Exactly.
Like you're going to learn, you're going to grow. Like we said, the mess, like you grow from the mess. And so there's a lot that can be done.
Absolutely.
Still. What can people do to create those deeper, more meaningful relationships in a world that, like we talked about this a little bit, that prioritizes convenience? What can we do to create those deeper, more meaningful relationships?
You want me to go?
Yes.
Okay. I love this. And this is telling the truth. Sorry, I get emotional.
We need truth. We need truth, you guys. And I feel that from you guys. You speak the truth. Like you were saying, this, if it doesn't work for you, it might not work for you, because you want people to be happy and get what they're wanting out of it. And that's the truth. And I think that's like when we put truth out there, you can't go wrong. It might hurt, but you can't go wrong.
Yeah. And I think connection lies in the fact that I know absolutely who you are. And that's because I learned and understand now who I am. So if I am not giving you the truth and I'm not giving you 100% of me, then how in the world are we supposed to connect?
Yeah.
Right. And the scariest thing for a lot of the masculine is to actually be honest and open and vulnerable. But in doing so, you're going to get every single part of your wife.
And I think a lot of times people think, oh, you know, we'll just do more date nights or we'll just prioritize more time together. And I think date nights are great, but how many times do you go on a date night and you sit on your phone or you go to the movies or you're not doing something to create a connection there,
You're not
right?
connecting. Yeah.
You're not. And I actually love, we were talking about this a couple of days ago and Matt brought up, you know, a lot of times with connection, people automatically go to physical intimacy, whether that's touching or whatever that may be. And sometimes that can bring triggers up in relationships. And it's like exactly what Matt said. Anytime there's something that's brought up that's triggering you, you get to start to look at it and lean into that connection and lean into like, well, you know, why do I not want to hold his hand? Or why am I uncomfortable going to dinner and actually having to talk to him? And, you know, we live in the world of AI. Like I would challenge everybody next time you got to dinner, jump on ChatGPT and be like, hey, give me some conversation starters, you know, to talk to my partner. We have conversation cards for that exact reason that we created.
It's so good. You forget how after I have a daughter. We have a, you know, you forget how to talk to each other.
You do.
It's all about kids, and you know.
And we had to do that last night at dinner. We took our 4 kids out to dinner, and we were like, "This is madness." And we literally pulled ChatGPT up, put in the thing like dinner table conversations for kids, and we had the best night. And so we just forget sometimes how to talk to each other and how to be vulnerable because it's scary. Like we let fear hold us back so much, and instead of letting fear hold you back, let fear be that thing that gets you exactly what you want. Like dive in head first. I always think about like jumping off a cliff and just being like, I got this. This is going to be amazing because I know I got myself. Like I can do this. And so in those kind of things with connection in your relationship, when things start to feel uncomfortable or you're finding yourself trying to avoid it, lean into it. And like, cause that's when the growth will happen. And I can promise you, because I was that person.
Lean into the mess, people. This is the message. Lean into that. Okay, as we wrap up, I wish we could do, like, I could talk to you both for hours, honestly. This is so inspiring. Is there anything else that we haven't, I mean, there's so many questions we didn't get to, but anything else you want to, like, if someone's listening and thinking, like, there's no hope, whether they're, like, dating or there's, you know, in a relationship, any advice?
Well, I think, let's talk to the other like end of the spectrum, right? Because there's the people that are at their pain points. Like you said, there's no hope. And a lot of the times those are the people that sit in the chair, right? Those are the people that want to work on something because they don't know where else to go. Yeah. There's the other side of it where your relationship is more or less great, right? And I think that's probably 85% of relationships out there where we just think our relationship is good. And I don't disagree with that person. But what there is to look at is to say, how much better could it be? And so, yes, people at their pain point, they want to do their work. They want to stay together. Yes, let's do that work. But also, if you're in a relationship and you're just like, hey, things are great, but what else is there? And that's the transformation that we talk about in relationship coaching, is to say through this self-awareness in the mirror of your partner, you're going to learn more about life. You're going to learn about more experience. Like they're going to teach you every single part of yourself. And this is the transformation, right? So rather than your relationship just being good or being at a pain point, we want your relationship to flourish and actually transform into something beautiful.
Okay, that's so good. So relationship coaching is not just for people who are like, they don't know what else to do. This is like, you think things are good, that's great, but let's make it better. Let's figure out how to communicate. Let's figure out, so like no matter where you are in your relationship, coaching is a great idea.
Where we've seen like the coolest, some of our favorite clients are the ones that have built up their careers, right? Have, let's say, like more or less made their money, had their kids, but now they're looking to improve their relationship because that took a toll for the past however long, right? And so those are our favorite clients and favorite people to work with because they know how to build and they know that your relationship is something that you also have to build.
This is so good, you guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to secretly, I'm writing down your number too. My husband and I will be contacting you soon.
Hey, we'll chat anytime.
But it's worth it. You know, it's your relationships and it's like the most important thing in the world for you. So it's so good to work on that and also yourself, be your best self.
Yep. So as your relationship is like the top priority, your rest of your life really falls into place. And we've seen that time and time again. It's so interesting because relationships aren't just with your husband or your wife. they're with everyone. They're with your parents and your siblings and your coworkers and everybody. And so when you can learn how to communicate emotionally and like tap into your own personal emotions, all of your relationships, like it's amazing how much they all change. So
For the good. Can you
Yes.
imagine that?
Yeah.
Like all of your
Yes,
relationships
it's
could
so
be better, you know?
And that's a cool thing too, not to go on a tangent, but this manifests itself in like communication in the workplace as well. Like there's a couple of corporations that we work with just on like interpersonal communications throughout their oh gosh, what am I trying
Like
to say?
employees and
throughout their
corporations, yeah.
employees and throughout all the sectors in their business. And so this is something that when applied, you're able to take everywhere.
Yeah. So good, you guys.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay. Real quick, we like to do Fresh Five.
Okay.
You have no idea what I'm asking you.
I know, I'm excited.
Are you both ready?
Yes.
Okay. Question number 1. What's scarier? Spiders, snakes, or clowns?
Spiders, hands down, terrifying, hate them. I wish they would
I'm with
become
you, Lauren.
extinct.
I'm with you.
I say clowns.
Oh, really?
Clowns.
Yeah, I don't like
Interesting.
clowns. That's
Okay.
creepy.
Okay. You're on a plane. Where are you headed?
Mexico.
Ooh, she knew right away.
I knew. I'm like ready to go.
Matt's like, okay.
Mexico, I'll come with you. I'll
Okay,
go to Mexico
love
with you. There you go.
Mexico.
I need some sunshine right now.
All right. Is it with or without the kids?
Without. We've got young kids. They range from 9 to 1. So I'm like, we're in the thick of it.
Yes, you are. Okay.
I love them, but no, they can stay here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I love that. So relatable. Okay. It's brunch. What are you ordering?
Oh, brunch. I'd probably go to Sunday's Best. And I'd
That's a great
order,
place. We love that place.
And I'd order the biscuits and gravy there because it is
Yum.
unlike anything else.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a foodie. I just like drinks.
Great. It
Genuinely.
works. You
I
have
literally-
drinks there too.
I know. I would love, I'm a classic Dr. Pepper.
There you
Like
go.
that's all I would want
There
for
you go.
brunch. I've already had breakfast at that
Good
time.
thing you're
so
here
we're
in
good.
Utah because
Yep.
we got plenty of that here.
Yep.
East Coast or West Coast?
West.
Oh, I don't know.
West
I'm going to
Coast.
say West Coast.
Yeah.
West Coast.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Last one. What is making you smile right now in life?
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
this is a really good one.
That just made me emotional too. This conversation, first of all, thank you for having us on. It
course.
is beautiful. It's cool to meet new people like this. The next thing that makes me smile so much is leaning into like my authentic self, because it has been very, very cool to see what we have created through believing and trusting in ourselves.
I feel that with you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like I could just echo that.
No, answer
okay.
it by yourself.
Okay, I'll answer by myself. I think one of the things that has made me smile recently is we've had some really amazing opportunities to meet some really incredible people, just like yourselves, and that really fills me up. Like meeting new people and being able to hear their stories and their experiences, and just like connection for me with other people has been out of this world lately. And so I'm just grateful for other people being vulnerable and willing to talk to us, but then also being willing to listen and hear from our experiences and just kind of, accept us exactly as we are. Because I think for a really long time, I tried to play a role of being somebody that I wasn't. And so it's nice to finally lean into, like Matt said, that authenticity and that like, no, this is exactly who I am. And I hope you love it. And if you don't, that's okay too.
And that you're okay with it if
Yeah.
people don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're not for everyone.
Exactly. Exactly.
We also got to share a stage at a big relationship conference just this last weekend
Yes.
with a bunch of big names. And so that was a step in the right direction for us. So that was cool.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
Well, I feel that energy with both of you, like
Thank
your
you.
authentic
Thank you.
selves, and not only like with individually, but it's so cool that you guys get to do this together.
Yeah.
I mean that speaks a lot to you both and your success. Congrats on that. And
Thank
speaking
you.
of that, if people want to follow you, get some coaching, get advice, where's the best place to go?
I would have them go to our website. It's grindtogetherco.com, or you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. It's the exact same thing, Grind Together Co. And you can come check us out. We have all of our stuff there. We would love making new friends, and send us a DM, let us know where you came from, and we'll respond back.
The easiest way to get into this, we've created a community. It's called Together Community. And it's a very entry low ticket when we talk about like therapy or coaching or anything like that. It's $99 a month, and you get 2 relationship calls a month, plus a whole bunch of other things that we have offered. We have courses, relationship workbooks, an ebook that we wrote on there as well. And Lauren sends out like tips and advice and an email newsletter every week. So that's a really cool like entry level way to get into this.
Great
and
price, worth it.
We would love to invite anybody to join that community, because there's just a whole bunch of people trying to work on their relationships, and it's really fun.
And
Sure.
if you're local to Utah, we do monthly meetups. So we'll do monthly meetups where we do everything from like your normal, hey, let's get together and do something fun, to, you know, breathwork, meditation, tapping into yourself kind of nights. So it's fun, and those are included in the membership. So
amazing. Website one more time.
grindtogetherco.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both of you, thank you.
Thank you for having us. This has been so fun.
We really appreciate these authentic conversations and advice for people. And I know people listening right now are appreciative too. So thank you. Great to see you both. Let's have you back.
Thank you. Yes, we would love that.
Again. Amazing. And thank you for listening to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. Please rate, review, and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.